Okay. Hello, everybody. It is 5:16 on Wednesday, April 21st. Board of Health of Dartmouth. Michelle Keith, the chair. Is Emily Michelle here?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Emily. I'm sorry. I'm outside the Essex Courthouse here in Salem. To try to get this done. It's going to take me about 2 hours to get home, and there's no way that I can be driving and doing this meeting at the same time. It would not be fun. So,
Yeah.
I don't have everything readily available with me. I can go back and forth from some screenshots. But I know we have the 5:17 appointment with Mr. Hero.
Yeah.
So I guess
Do you want,
go ahead. Go ahead. Hello?
do you want me to kind of help take the lead and go through the agenda?
That would be great. That would be fantastic, Emily. That would be very helpful. Richard,
Yeah.
I don't think is going to make it tonight. So I'm just going to open up the meeting at 5:17. Michelle Keith is present. Emily Michelle?
Present.
Present. Okie dokie. Mr. Hero, Emily, do you want to read the title on the agenda for the 5:17 appointment for Mr. Hero?
Yes, the 517
Thanks.
appointment is Hero Engineering LLC, Plat 159, Lot 62 at 16 Cliff Street, a waiver.
Awesome. Fantastic. Mr. Hero.
Yes, good afternoon, Michelle. Good to see you from a distance. And members of the board. For the record, my name is Alan Haru, and for this public appointment, I'm representing Michael Lip and Wendy Garth Lip, owners of a single-family house at 16 Cliff Street. The subsurface sewage disposal system repair plan is dated July 31st, 2024. The system is designed in compliance with the State Environmental Code, Title V, and the Board of Health supplemental regulations. We propose a 1,500-gallon septic tank for primary treatment. The proposed soil absorption system is a leaching bed and is located in the rear yard area on this 40,000 square foot lot. There are no wetlands on the lot. The bottom of the leaching bed is elevated 2 to 3 feet above the existing ground elevation to provide the required separation from the estimated seasonal high groundwater elevation. We respectfully request a single waiver to allow less than 12 inches separation between the inlet and outlet pipes in the septic tank and pump chamber and the seasonal high groundwater, the separation distance between those two. The regulation is 310 CMR 15.405, subparagraph I, subparagraph J, 1J. Cast in place rubber boots will be installed for each inlet and outlet pipe in the septic tank and pump chamber. I'm happy to answer your questions, and I'm happy to share my screen with the plan if you'd like. You're at a distance. I don't know if you want me to, but it's pretty straightforward, I think. It's just a regulation where I'm trying to put a tank in the ground with the proper cover without changing the interior plumbing. The pipe coming out of the house is cast iron. It goes through a stone foundation. It's really at almost a minimum depth anyway. And there's, a lot of piping inside the house, PVC piping, etc. But the tank and the pump chamber are at a minimum cover, frankly. The building envelope is a house, a garage, a building, an accessory building, sort of cramped into one corner of the lot. And then there's a big rear yard where I'm putting the leaching field. So again, I'd be happy to answer your questions and share my screen if you'd like.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Chris, do you have any comments on this?
I do not have any comments.
Okay. Emily Michelle, do you have any questions or comments?
I'm glad you mentioned the rubber boots. That would have been my only concern. So thank you for addressing that in advance.
Okay. So I guess could we have a motion to approve this?
Yes. So
Okay.
finding that the plan calls for cast in place rubber boots in each inlet and outlet pipe, I move to approve the plan for plot 159 lot 62 at 16 Cliff Street.
I second that motion. Michelle Keith votes yes. Emily Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Hero.
Thank you and have a safe drive home.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Take care.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Madam Chair, do you want me to say the next item on the agenda?
That would be wonderful. Thank you, Emily. Then I have to go. Don't have to keep flipping back and forth. Thanks.
No problem. I'll move forward. So at 520 is the continued notification of enforcement for installer Gary Nichols for plat 41 lot 5390 Fisher Road in Dartmouth.
Okay, let's see here. Mr. Nichols, are you here? We have, it looks like we have Chris, we have Emily, we have somebody called iPhone. I guess there's two iPhones, or is it iPhone parentheses 2 and then Jason?
I'm just chiming in. Jason is the neighbor
Okay.
in this particular case. So I'm just here listening for an update.
Okay, Jason, I just wanted to check in with you to see, are you still getting the flooding, or has the situation been corrected?
They have, I'm not an engineer. They have
Okay.
done, I don't even know what it would be called, but basically put a berm, for lack of a different term, that is
Okay.
probably 6 to 9 inches tall, I would guess.
Mhm.
That's blocking the water as it comes down. Um, it appears, again, I'm not a professional, that's creating puddling on the two sides of it, so to speak, but we haven't necessarily had the rain that created the issue to begin with. But
Yeah,
I
so
would
it's hard to
say
tell.
we did have a storm last week, to be fair, that at least for a short period of time brought a pretty significant rainfall down, and we didn't seem to have the issue per
That's
se.
wonderful.
Although again, it did have some significant puddling on both sides on their property.
Yes. That's fantastic. I'm wondering if the iPhones are Mr. Nichols. Um, I noticed that the iPhone is muted. Is that muted from Dartmouth Media, or is that muted individually? Is there a way to tell?
I tried to unmute it and I cannot. I don't know if Dartmouth Community Television can, but I cannot unmute it.
Okay. Dartmouth Media is, I don't think, are they on?
I don't see them.
That's unusual. Last time that happened, we,
I do not see them either.
yeah, last time that happened, we ended up having, oh, and that's another thing. I should have said that even though we had the message come up on the screen that said that meeting is being recorded, that this meeting is supposed to be being recorded. Okay, well, let's see here.
Dartmouth Community Media is here. I see them.
Okay, is there any way that they can unmute the iPhone to see if maybe the person can't get through? Okay, I see Dartmouth Community Media, yep. I just did an ask to unmute. Okay,
I think I'm going. Oops.
I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm here. Lost the screen.
There, the people who are in on the iPhone, will you unmute yourself? Okay, I think what we'll do is just give that person a little bit more time to come in. And what's the next item on the agenda, Emily? Emily Michelle?
We have a 5:25 PM for continued environmental site assessment for
Okay,
map 33.
Let's go forward to that. Okay, and then we'll circle back to that and hopefully give this person some time to figure out what they're doing with their iPhone. And then after the next, I think there's 2 more appointments on the agenda, if I'm recalling correctly. We'll come back to that.
And then there is old business as well, but yes,
Okay.
as far as appointments, yep. So the
Okay.
5:25 is the continued environmental site assessment for map 33, lot 18-6 off Woodcock Road.
Okie dokie. Are the folks here for that property?
They are not here for that.
Okay.
While we have this on as an agenda item for appointment, we don't need presentation by the applicant. We let them know about today's meeting and the agenda topic of their interest,
Okay.
but they don't need to be.
No, I just wanted,
so-
I remember the last meeting, there was somebody here and I hadn't done a call out to recognize them. So I'm just making sure, especially where we don't know who is on the iPhone, that, you know, they're not present wanting to talk. So Chris, did you want to give us an update on this?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So a environmental site assessment in response to our land development reuse regulations was submitted for the parcel off Woodcock Road that's referenced in the agenda, lot 18-6. And that initial one, there was some concern with its sufficiency with respects to the prescription of standards in our regs for the ESA. The board at that meeting voted to require a third-party consultant. We did discuss with the owner about the various options going forward. And I had follow-up conversation with the owner and the environmental consultant after the board's last meeting. That initial ESA just can kind of sit, and there's no requirements for the board to do anything further.
That's great.
The applicant, in terms of paying us for the third-party consultant, what they have done is submitted a new ESA. So this new ESA is now before the board, and it does include the groundwater testing and the testing in the area for both soils and groundwater, where there was activities that triggered the need for this environmental site assessment. So at this point in time, because this is a single family house lot and not associated with high density, larger development, and that this activity that occurred, which is of concern, which was the contractor's yard, is recent, and we know exactly where it was, I do not have a concern with this environmental site assessment being insufficient.
Okay.
I feel as though that the soil testing in the locations and the groundwater testing in the locations has covered everything that we would be concerned about and our exact knowledge of the land use. So I would not recommend a third-party consultant on this. If this was a larger development, then, you know, incurring the cost of third-party review can get spread out more easily. So, and we also have more surety with this, or understanding, I should say, of the use and testing to screen out any problems.
I'm so happy that the concerns were met. That this is a fantastic ending to this particular situation. Emily Michelle, did you want to make a motion to approve this?
Well, so is, and sorry, Chris, I was looking at my notes. So our actions are either we move to approve it since it's a new application, correct? As opposed to taking no action?
Yeah, so the other one can just sit indefinitely as,
Okay.
and whereas this one here, the board can either vote to not require the third-party consultant or take any other action, which would include, you know, voting for the third-party consultant.
Got it. Okay. So then
No.
I would,
We're not voting for a third party consultant. We're just approving it as they basically saying that they've met the requirements, Chris, that you had set out, so that we're giving them the go ahead.
Well, if that was the majority opinion of the vote of the
Yeah.
board.
So we would be making a motion to approve what?
To approve the environmental site assessment without
Okay.
third-party review.
Okay, fantastic. I just wanted to make sure we had the wording right. Thank you.
okay, and it's not passed on a third party review, it's approved without third party review. Okay. All right, so then finding that there's additional information provided that address the original concerns of the Board of Health and that this is a single family home, I move to approve without a third party review the environmental site assessment for map 33 lot 18-6 off Woodcock Road.
I second that motion. I vote yes. Emily Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So let's see here. We still have somebody on here that is from an iPhone, but I guess that we should just move on to the next item on the agenda. And then I think after that one, we'll check again with the iPhone people to see if they can talk. So Emily, Michelle, do you mind reading the next one? I think it's another ESA.
Yep, it's the 5:30
Okay.
is the last a time appointment. Environmental site assessment for 163 lots 62 and 63 State Road.
Fantastic. Do we have anybody here from that site in the meeting? Chris, did you want to give us an update on this?
Sure, thank you.
Thank you.
So this environmental site assessment is for a property out on Route 6. The property has an older history with possible several uses, triggering uses. All we have to do is prove one use. But based on some of the site conditions there, it may have had sand and gravel operations on it at an earlier time that pre-exists the car dealership. And before the car dealership, it was a restaurant. This is a conversion of a automotive repair car dealership into a proposed subdivision. There's been a couple different ideas floated around for the residential use of the property, but it will involve more than single family dwelling. Additionally, as I just mentioned earlier, there's a lot more uncertainty about the land use. And with that being said, because of those two issues or two matters, I would recommend to the board to engage a third-party consultant. And I have checked, and there is a third-party consultant, Riverhawk LLC, that can do a third-party review, in a reasonable time frame and for a reasonable amount of money. So if the board so chooses for an environmental site assessment review by the third party, that would need to be a vote. And I would ask that the vote include the mention of Riverhawk LLC, or if the board wants me to go out and look for others, then I would. I will say that, we do use other LSPs for review, but, there might be a conflict on this one with the other LSP that we have used in the past.
Okay. And once again, is there anybody here from the property in the meeting? Okay.
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry?
can I just ask Dartmouth Community Television to take iPhone 2 off of mute at this time? And if you're here for this matter, then to speak. Otherwise, if you're here for the Nichols matter, let us know, and then we'll jump to that topic after this.
Madam Chair, I
Yes.
have Gary Nichols on the line. He's again on a cell phone and I have him on the computer.
Okay,
Um,
so hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I just
well,
wanted to let you know he was here. That's all.
Okay, we will be right with you. Thank you for identifying yourself because we've been waiting for quite a while, but we have been trying to get the other business done. So we're just going to
Yeah.
wrap this up, and then we'll just take a look at the agenda, and we will call on you. Emily, Michelle?
Just one question for Chris. Is that all
Yeah,
right?
that's what I was gonna- my next question was, do you have any questions? Okay. Yeah.
Great. Chris, so then, what if we were to make a motion to require the applicant to make payment to the town for third-party consultant, would we then require it to be Riverhawk Environmental, or is there any other wording you would recommend we use? It's part of the motion, correct? Or would it be a condition?
I would ask that it be part of the vote, just so that, the board is selecting the consultant.
So I'm sorry. So we would make the motion, and then after we as a board would just say we want you to use Riverhawk Environmental. It's
It
not
can-
part of the motion.
It can be part of the motion.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
I would phrase it as a recommendation.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
I think I can get it when I.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you.
That's the only question I had.
Okay. So, do you feel,
Yeah.
would you like to make a motion?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you.
So finding that this site has a history and greater uncertainty of the previous land use, and that it's a proposed site for higher density residential use, I move to require the applicant to make payment to the town of Dartmouth for a third-party consultant to review the environmental site assessment, with the recommendation that that third-party consultant be Riverhawk Environmental.
Okay, because they have the expertise needed.
Because they have the
Yeah,
expertise
yeah.
needed, and there is not a concern of conflict of interest.
Okay, fantastic. I second that motion and I vote yes. Michelle Keith votes yes. Emily, Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Now, is there anything else there on old business?
I'm sorry. So there are no other appointments. It looks, then there's
Okay.
new business and then there's old business.
Okay, okay. What's on the new business?
The minutes of August 8th, 2024.
Okay. I make a motion to accept those minutes. Emily, Michelle?
I was going to abstain because I was absent.
Oh, God, we can't. Okay, yeah, we can't address it. Okay, so that's just gonna have to be tabled for next month. Chris, is that okay?
That's what it has to be.
Yeah. I don't think we need to make a motion for that. We just don't have the people here that can accept them. So we'll just put that off till next month. And then that was the only thing in new business. Is there anything in old business?
Yes, there is. So A is update Antonio Raposo and Paul Raposo, flat 39 lot 11 at 709 Russell's Mills Road, the domestic animal permit. Do you want me to read the numbers of animals?
Chris, I don't think we need to. Chris, has it gone to conservation on this?
So they have made progress with
Okay.
filing an application with conservation. So at
Yeah,
this time, I would just recommend that the board table this to our next
Okay.
meeting.
We're still waiting for conservation's response.
That is correct. Thank you.
Okay, fantastic. So I make a motion to table this item, please.
I'll second.
Okay, Michelle Keith votes yes. Emily, Michelle, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, is there anything else?
Yes, there's continued Mano McGower, plot 169, lot 180 at
And we-
43 Macomber
can't-
Avenue.
Yeah, I have to
Could-
recuse myself from this one because of a potential conflict of interest. So that's gonna end up having to be tabled again because Richard's not here and the two of you can't vote.
Okay, so
Chris?
Chris,
Chris, is there a deadline on this?
There is not.
Okay.
And given the circumstances, it's a temporary until the board votes to vote it as full. So
Okay,
we can wait till the next meeting.
okie dokie. So anything else?
just says any item not known 48 hours in
Okay,
advance, it's for
fantastic.
information, yep.
So now we can go back to the Nichols matter. Okay, Mr. Nichols, are you here?
Say it again, Gary.
Yes, I am.
So what's going on with the site here?
I'm willing to fix whatever needs to be fixed.
Oh, but you haven't fixed it yet.
Well, I really don't see what's wrong.
Well, explain what you did, shooting the grades and everything to him.
I shot grade from the edge of the thing. I had 15 feet out, 3-foot drop.
So you have done something then?
Well, I'm willing to repair anything that needs to be repaired.
Yeah,
You-
but what I'm trying to do is get an update from you, Mr. Nichols. To find out what the status of the property is.
Anybody hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Gary.
Hello?
Yeah, go
Hi,
ahead.
Mr. Nichols, yes, we can hear you.
Yes. So I'm not fighting with anybody. If anything needs to be fixed, I am willing to fix it.
I understand that. You said that 3 times. I understand that. But what I'm trying to find out is, has it been fixed? What has been done to the property?
It's fixed to the plan and I'm measuring. But if something else needs to be fixed, I'm willing to do it. I'm not here to fight with anybody.
Oh, no, Chris, is everything done on the property? Can you provide any sort of update
did.
as far as what you've got available?
So the last time that this was discussed with Mr. Nichols was on July the 2nd of this
Okay.
year. And there was some question during the hearing before Mr. Nichols was able to access the meeting, in which the neighbor expressed a lot of concern about the grading. and through their attorney, James Marsh.
Whatever he
That
wants,
led to some questions about the grades. Following the July 2nd meeting, I had a phone conversation with Mr. Marsh when he called for updates, and there was none. That was last week. Today, Mr. Nichols was in the office to obtain the as-built, and talked with me to see, about what was needed. Told him that, there was, still uncertainty about the grades, from the last meeting, and that the installer's certification needed to be signed off. However, because of the uncertainty of the grading, Mr. Nichols couldn't sign off. Because essentially when you sign off, you're saying, I have completed all work in accordance with 310 CMR 1500, which is Title V, and the Dartmouth Supplemental Regulations. So, he left to verify that. And, the board would have to verify that as well.
And how would we verify that, Chris?
Well, it would be up to the board's leisure to decide that, whether they want to do a visual, which is going to be an eyeball, or require an as-built of the finished grade.
Madam Chair, can I speak? Gary's trying to say something. I don't know if you guys are hearing it.
Okay.
Because
Well,
this crazy
one
setup.
person- Okay, one person at a time. Chris was
Yes,
talking.
okay.
While
I'm
Chris
sorry
is
about that.
talking,
Okay.
nobody else
Yep.
should be talking. I'm going to make
Okay.
sure everybody has a chance to say something.
No
Okay,
problem.
so
Sorry about
Chris,
that.
is there anything else you need to add?
That is all.
Okay, fantastic. Now, Mr. Nichols, what were you trying to say?
I'm willing to fix whatever needs to be fixed.
And
I'm
get,
not
But
here to
Mr.
fight
Okay, what
tell
I'm
him to
not
get an
understanding,
as-built.
I
okay,
won't
but
get
what I'm not,
for it.
Mr. Nichols, what I'm not understanding is I guess you need to sign off on it, but you didn't want to sign off on it?
No, I signed off on it already, but they just wasn't 100% sure if it was 100% graded right. So I didn't want to sign on it, and if you need an as-built done, I'll do it.
What he's saying is he'll pay for a site engineer to come out and have an as-built done to show you the grades are correct. And that way the town or the board can be assured that it's correct, done properly.
Okay. Okay, so he's not sure that it's correct. So that's why he wouldn't sign? Gary, is that true?
I signed it today.
So it's signed.
Yeah, and I just.
Chair, if I may, for clarity,
Okay, go ahead, Chris.
he signed it, but he didn't turn it in. And that was under both of our agreement because of the uncertainty with the grade. There is a date on the form that he could not fill out because of the uncertainty of the grade.
Okay,
And
so
whether
Mr.
or
Nichols,
not, the board will
you
require-
need?
Can't hear.
They asked you, what do you need?
What do you need to be able to sign that with the date?
I'll sign it right now today.
Is
But
that
if you
okay,
need an
Chris?
as-built on it, I'll pay for that too.
Just so everyone can hear, I'm not trying to overtalk anyone. This is hot
No,
on this
no,
phone.
I understand. I
No, I
understand. You're trying to
apologize.
be helpful.
I'm trying to
Yep.
respect the meeting, so please understand that.
Yep,
What he's
yep, I
trying
do.
to say is, he would have signed it today. My understanding of what he just said, and him and Chris had a back and forth if Chris could accept it. I don't know, I wasn't there, I'm just relaying the message. He's willing to pay for a separate engineer to come out and verify it's right, certifying what he's signing is accurate, to make everyone happy. So normally you wouldn't pay for an engineer to do the, measure the loom and give the exact grades. He's willing to do that if the board will, if that'll make everybody happy, including Chris, the neighbors, whoever's involved here. And then an engineer has to put a stamp on it and say they're certifying the grades are proper. Gary shot the grades today and they were all proper according to him. Chris had questions about it. This is my understanding of the conversation. If I'm wrong, please correct me, Chris. And now, Gary, I said, just get an engineer out there because that answers every question. If something is a little low, the engineer's going to tell you fix it. So I'm just trying to give him a way to get an ends to the means the best way.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Chris, you definitely would want somebody to go and eye this. Okay, as one option. And the other option would be making sure that we have an as-built. If Mr. Nichols signs this and we go out and we take a look at it, do you feel comfortable with that, or would you feel more comfortable with an as-built?
We will not be 100%, without certainty, whereas with an as-built, we will. We can give a, we can give a high degree
Okay,
of certainty
So,
as
and
clients.
as-built would be, I think, probably the safer way to go with ensuring that the work was done the way it's supposed to be done.
That would give the absolute certainty.
Okay, and Mr. Nicholas, you're willing to do that?
Yes,
Okay. When do you think you could get that done?
this week.
Okay. Emily, Michelle, do you have any comments or observations?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I consider this to be a rather different manner, and I'm gonna pause myself. And Mr. Nichols, can you hear me? Am I loud enough? Am I
I'm
speaking clearly enough?
I can hear you.
Yes, is that a yes?
Yes,
My greatest concern, regardless of what the grading is today, is that the timeline I have in front of me is that this permit was issued October 3rd, 2023, and the system grading took months to happen. And so the system was uncovered for months. That to me is unacceptable. And then furthermore, the health department had to use a lot of staff, and as far as I understand it, the constable to get a response. So even if today the grading gets fixed and you go above and beyond to do that, we as a board, I don't see how we can't act upon the fact that this was uncovered and open for months. So the biggest question I have is there any reasonable explanation as to why that was open for months with our office trying to get in contact with you to fix the situation before any grading, whether it was good enough or not, was taken?
at the time it was April and it rained every weekend. That was the only reason.
Chris,
Okay.
does that line up? It was in October though.
Fixed it. What's that? It was a weather situation, not because we don't plant grass in January.
The final inspection happened October 10th, 2023.
I think I pulled a permit then.
My records say October 3rd, 2023 is when the permit was issued. And then the final inspection of the septic system was October 10th, 2023.
Really?
Yes, that is what I have in front of me. So I can understand why you would say, rain events, within a,
Right.
you have bad luck in the spring, let's say, but if we're talking about October and we're going all through the winter, I still don't see a reasonable explanation as to why that would happen.
Well, at the time, I don't think the planting of the grass was part of the contract, but we did it anyways.
So you're saying grass is the reason that an entire septic system was left uncovered?
Oh, I don't think it was left uncovered.
The notes I have, it was exposed and not backfilled when our Board of Health staff checked on February 9th, 2024.
It wasn't backfilled.
That is what my records show. Do you have anything to the
Oh, wow.
contrary to show when you backfilled it?
If I may, the tank was exposed all during that time. And covering of the tank
Yeah,
is
The
instrumental.
concrete tank was exposed because of the grass.
There was no fill on top of the tank.
Right. But the field was all covered. Most of the time I leave it so people don't drive, whoever's landscaping, I don't want them to drive on a tank.
The system being exposed and not backfilled is one of the major reasons why why our health department had to try and contact you and why we're here, because they went through so many motions to contact you that it took for us to call you to a Board of Health meeting and consider your license, which is why we're here today. That's my understanding, is that it wasn't done months ago and it has taken so much effort to get here, and that this is so atypical for an installer to do.
Ma'am, could I ask, I'm here for Gary on this side. Can I maybe explain a little bit better for him? Just because I'm a developer, so I think and he does a lot of work on my site, so I understand a little better potentially. I think what he's
Okay.
trying to say, and Chris, correct me if I'm wrong on anything here, because I didn't see any of this project. I'm just trying to maybe help everyone on the board understand. So when we normally we do the septic system, Board of Health has to come inspect everything, and engineers do make sure everything's in place, the actual system, the sand, all the levels. Once that's inspected, they usually cover the whole fields. But we keep it like hard covered as a developer. I'm a developer. I own Vermet Development V Corp, so I build a lot of homes in town. We leave the field exposed, and we also leave the tanks, because as much as we ask people not to drive over the cement tanks, people do it all the time. Then they break them, they sink. So once we cover it with loom, we have we'll put stakes around where the physical tanks are, or any things that you can really fall in pretty easily. And then we'll loom it all and still ask them to keep off of it. And so I think what Gary was trying to say is, with the weather not being able to loom it, the top, a lot of times you'll see the top, just the cement part of the tank still exposed, not the whole system. I'm not talking about all the actual half circle things. I don't even know the name of them, where all the stuff goes through. Just that usually gets all covered with fill. So you're just leaving a layer of 4 to 5 inches of loam and a little bit of fresh soil before that to level anything that is sunk. That's what Gary's saying was left open at the time because of weather. Is that correct?
Hold on for one. Go ahead. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Nichols?
Yes.
Okay, Chris, when you went and inspected in February, what did you observe, or what did the health department observe?
So, what with Mr. Vermet had mentioned, may have some relevance with new construction. Because when the house is being built, you don't have an occupancy permit. Once you get a certificate of compliance, then we can sign off on the occupancy permit for new construction, which means that the system has been built in full conformance with state and local regulations, which includes the backfilling. This property here is a repair. It's an existing home. So leaving the tank exposed is an entirely different matter, because the tank is in use. And having cover over the tank is important because it protects the functionality of the tank as wastewater is entering it, settling out, and effluent is passing on to the distribution box.
Because the house is occupied.
Correct.
Okay.
And by leaving it open, you're subjecting the tank to more whimsical fluctuations of the ambient air, and it is not insulated with the top cover of 9 inches of material over the top.
8, 9 inches.
9 inches is the minimum.
Yes.
Okay. So that was the minimum requirement, and that wasn't done. And that's what you were trying to get done.
Yes.
And Chris, that's what you were asking for.
We were asking for that to be covered, and there was some additional grading because the system is placed on a down gradient parcel. The parcel slopes from west to east, and the system kind of sits somewhat obstructing the downward flow of water. And the engineer had shown a lot more grading, a lot more fill than what existed back in February. So we had water that was ponding in a bit of a pocket between the building sewer fill and the north end of the system, so that the grading wasn't completed over there. So we also had some water that was kind of ponding over there against the toe of the slope on the uphill side of the system, which is less than ideal because you want to be shedding water away from the system.
And then, so when you inspected in February, when did you hear from Mr. Nichols?
Well, the inspection was in February, and I know some of the documents that we gave the board, it provides a timeline of all the different events. I know Mr. Nichols has a copy of that as well, in which it states, us reaching out to him, his presence in the office on February 16th, on March 24th, notified to contact the Board of Health by April 5th, 2024 to provide a timeline for completion of the system grading on May 16th, contacted by email advising had until May 31st to complete the installation of the septic system in accordance with 310 CMR 1500. And then on June, I believe it was 6th, being served by the constable for the meeting
Okay.
in June.
Okay. So, Mr. Nichols, you can see that this has caused a lot of work for the Board of Health and a lot of expense for the town.
I apologize.
Okay, thank you for apologizing. It's been very, very frustrating. We have an extremely small staff. We don't have a lot of resources. And it's very, very frustrating. And then what happens is we have to set the example for other installers. So, you know, if we're not getting the appropriate response from you, that tells the story that other installers can get away with that. And then why the heck should we even have regulations if people aren't gonna do what they're supposed to do? You know, so, you know, it puts us in a very difficult situation because we try to be understanding, but there's also regulations, and our job is to make sure that those regulations are followed. And then when they're not being followed and they're costing the town additional money, it's just not a good situation. So, Emily, Michelle, do you have any other thoughts or comments?
Just that we could go back and forth about how to fix it today, but I'm concerned about this. I think this is unacceptable.
So, this is what I'm thinking. Mr. Nichols, you have to be responsive to the Board of Health, to the Department of Health. You have to be respectful of the staff, do what's asked. Please, if you can get the as-built and get that done within the next week, like you said you would do, that would be very good. Okay? We don't want it to go to another instance where we're having next month's meeting. When is next month's meeting? The 19th of September, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, the 19th of September is next month's meeting. We do not want it to be another situation where you're walking into the office on September 19th and you haven't done what you're supposed to do, and we don't have the paperwork to wrap this up. I would like to try to personally not suspend your license, because I understand we all need to work to make a living. But if this isn't taken care of, we're gonna have to go that route. So this is your last chance to do what you're supposed to do and be respectful to the board, to the Department of Health, and be respectful to the regulations.
Thank you.
So, Chris, is it okay if I make a motion to table this should I make some specifications on there that if this is not taken care of, there will be a suspension, or I'm recommending a suspension?
Well, there is a suspension that the board did place upon the,
I know, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
until such time that he met. So,
Yeah.
you know, certainly they met, there's some outstanding. So, you know, if the board is going to make a decision, you know, it needs to be consistent with prior decisions.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I keep
whether it's
forgetting that we did
whether
the
it's gonna
suspension, but,
continue or it's going to take another shape.
okay, Chris, what was the timing on the suspension? How was that worded?
Until such time that he met with the board,
Okay,
and the board has concerns, and, you know, so, you know, he met with us, there were concerns, there were questions, you know, we're meeting again today.
okay,
So, you know, the board can, you know, take any action that the board sees relevant.
okay. I'd like to table this. This is the last time, okay? I'd like to table it and hope that on September 19th, everybody has been treated with respect and everything that's supposed to be done is done, so that we can move forward and not be investing any more time in an issue that should have been taken care of a long, long time ago. So I'm gonna make a motion to table this. Emily, Michelle, do you have any other comments, or would you prefer to do a different motion, or I just want to make sure that I'm getting your input?
I think the only request I would have, if Chris can give the timeline that I have in front of me to Mr. Nichols, and then if you have any, you know, other notes as to, again, why the actions were taken, that's what I would want to review. I'm still extremely concerned, but Michelle, I see why you want to table this.
Yeah,
We also are missing.
Yeah, I know that I didn't get the timeline was emailed a little bit before the meeting. Like I said, I'm in my car. Is there any way that we can put the timeline into the record, Chris?
We can do that.
I would like that. Thank you. Okay, that's really important. So you're okay, Emily Michelle, if I make the motion to table?
Yes,
Okay, I'm just gonna make a very simple motion to table.
second,
Second, okay, I vote yes to table. Emily Michelle, how do you vote?
yes,
So, Mr. Nichols, this has got to be
Yes.
taken care of because if it,
Take care of it. Thank you very much.
Don't hang up
okay.
yet.
Okay, Chris, did you want to say anything?
All set, thank you.
Okie dokie. Emily Michelle, I don't think we have anything else to attend to.
I do not see anything else on the agenda.
Okie doke. Mr. Nichols, did you want to say anything?
Nope, thank you very much. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay, thank you. Okie doke. I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn at 6:02.
I second,
Okay, Michelle Keith votes yes. Emily Michelle, how do you vote?
yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Take care, guys. See you next
Alright.
month. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.